Very unexpected news. Loudly crying faced the painful secret of BTS Jungkook. Loudly crying faced the heartbreaking truth behind his smile. In the center of a stadium filled with 50,000 screaming voices, there is a singular point of focus. To the world, Jungkook is the golden Maknae, a prodigy who can sing, dance, paint, and perform with a terrifying level of perfection. He appears to be a figure carved out of stardust and success, untouched by failure. But if you strip away the pyrotechnics, the designer clothes, and the global records, you do not find a god. You find a young man who grew up in front of a camera, a boy who had to sacrifice his childhood to become a legend. This is not just a story of fame. It is a story of a terrified 15-year-old boy who had to learn how to survive the crushing weight of the world's expectations. To understand the man Jungkook has become, we must first look at the boy who was almost rejected by the world. Long before the sold-out tours, a young Jungkook stood in line for the Superstar K auditions in Busan. He was only a child, quiet and unassuming. He did not pass. He was rejected. According to various media reports and fan archives, he was eliminated early, a moment that could have ended his dream before it began. It was a cold introduction to reality. He was not the chosen one. He was just another face in the crowd. Yet, fate works in strange ways. While the show rejected him, 7 entertainment agencies saw something in his eyes. He chose Big Hit Entertainment, not because it was the biggest or richest company. It was actually small and financially struggling at the time, but because he saw RM, the leader, and felt a spark of inspiration. This decision marked the beginning of a grueling transformation. Jungkook left his hometown of Busan to move to Seoul alone. He was barely a teenager. Imagine the isolation of a middle school student, far from his parents, sleeping in a cramped dorm with strangers. In early interviews and vlogs, Jungkook admitted to being painfully shy. He was so introverted that he would wait until the other members fell asleep to take a shower because he was too afraid to be seen. He was the youngest, a baby among older boys, feeling small and out of place. The nickname Golden Maknae was not a gift, it was a burden. It meant he had to be good at everything. He had to sing the high notes, dance in the center, and never show weakness. The training period was brutal. While other children his age were playing video games and going to school dances, Jungkook was in a basement, practicing until his body gave out. He was sent to Los Angeles for dance training, a daunting trip for a quiet boy who did not speak the language. There, according to various documentaries, he learned the grit required to survive. But the hardest part was not the physical exhaustion. It was the emotional silence. He bottled up his feelings, afraid to burden the older members who were already stressed about the group's uncertain future. There is a specific moment that defines Jungkook's heart, a moment often cited by fans and members alike. It was during the early years of BTS, a time of immense struggle and financial insecurity. During a team gathering, the members were sharing their hardships. Jungkook, who usually remained stoic, began to cry uncontrollably. When asked why, he did not speak of his own tiredness or the pain of training. In a moment that revealed his true character, he said, "I don't have any hardships. The only hardship I have is seeing my Hyung suffer, and there is nothing I can do about it." This confession became the basis for his solo song, Begin. It revealed that his greatest fear was not failure, but his inability to protect the people he loved. He was a boy who absorbed the pain of those around him, carrying their burdens on his own teenage shoulders. As BTS began to conquer the world, the pressure on Jungkook shifted from physical survival to mental endurance. Growing up is hard enough. Growing up while millions of people analyze your every move is suffocating. There were times when the mask of the perfect idol became too heavy. During the Burn the Stage documentary, viewers witnessed a terrifying scene in Chile. Jungkook had pushed his body so hard during the concert that he collapsed backstage, requiring oxygen. He had hidden his exhaustion until he physically could not stand. He later explained that he felt he had to give his all because he might never see those fans again. It was a heartbreaking glimpse into his mindset. He felt he had to destroy himself to be worthy of their love. But fame brought a different kind of darkness, loneliness and a crisis of identity. In 2019, following a brief period of rest, Jungkook expressed feelings of confusion. Who was he when the stage lights turned off? Was he Jungkook of BTS, or was he just a young man named Jungkook? In unreleased snippets of a song titled Decalcomania, which he shared with fans, he sang about seeing a version of himself that was perfect on screen, but feeling like he didn't recognize that person in reality. This was a window into his struggle with imposter syndrome. Despite the awards and the adoration, he often questioned if he was truly enough. He questioned if he deserved the love he received. It was a silent battle, fought in hotel rooms and airplanes, a struggle to find his own color in a world that only wanted to see him in black and white. Yet, amidst the chaos, Jungkook's humanity remained his strongest anchor. People do not love Jungkook simply because he has a beautiful voice. They love him because, despite being a global superstar, he is famously humble. Media outlets and staff members have repeatedly reported seeing Jungkook stay behind after events to help clean up trash or untangle wires. He bows 90 degrees to everyone, from the highest executive to the youngest intern. This is not an act. It is who he is. He is the superstar who does his laundry on live streams with millions watching, who cooks for himself, who falls asleep on camera because he wants to feel close to his fans. He dismantled the barrier between idol and fan, showing that he is just a human seeking connection. The year 2022 marked a significant turning point. Jungkook stood alone on the stage of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. It was a moment of immense pressure, the first Korean artist to achieve such a feat. The world was watching, waiting for a mistake. But the shy boy from Busan was gone. In his place stood a man who commanded the stage with a fiery confidence. He performed Dreamers, a song that mirrored his own journey. He was no longer just following his brothers. He was blazing his own trail. His solo album, Golden, was not just a commercial success. It was a declaration of independence. He explored different genres, broke records, and proved that he could stand on his own 2 feet. However, even in this triumph, Jungkook remained grounded. Before enlisting in the military in December 2023, he wrote a heartfelt letter to fans. He did not speak of his records. He spoke of his gratitude. He admitted that the time apart would be difficult, but he promised to return more mature. The decision to enlist, to shave his head and wear a uniform just like any other Korean man, was a reminder that underneath the stardom, he is a citizen who accepts his duty. It was a quiet, dignified pause in a life that has been moving at the speed of light. Jungkook's story is not just about talent. It is about the resilience of a boy who was thrown into the fire and chose to become gold rather than turn to ash. He faced the crushing weight of expectation, the fear of inadequacy, and the loneliness of the spotlight, and he met them all with a gentle smile. He taught us that it is okay to be afraid, as long as you do not stop running. He taught us that true strength is not about being perfect. It is about being honest with your pain and kind to those around you. As we wait for his return, we do not just wait for a singer. We wait for the boy who cried because his brothers were hurting. We wait for the artist who stayed behind to help the staff. We wait for the young man who looked at the vast, terrifying world and decided to sing to it until it listened. In the quiet moments now, when the stage is empty, we realize something profound. Jungkook did not become a star because he was born one. He became a star because he burned through the darkness, layer by layer, until he found his own light. And as the screen fades, we are left with a deep, silent respect. Not for the idol, but for the human being who gave his entire youth to make the world a little brighter. We sit in this silence, not in sadness, but in the heavy, warm realization of how much he has endured, and how beautifully he has bloomed.